Paranormal Playback is a podcast where we recap the spooky and entertaining world that is paranormal reality TV. We are hosted by Acast. Warning: Paranormal Playback contains dark stories. It is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to Paranormal Playback. We are going to pick up right where we left off with part 2 of Ghost Adventures Season 29, Episode 5, The Rispin Mansion. Let us know how you're liking this format by DMing us or leaving a comment wherever you listen to podcasts. If you recall, we last left off with Zach and the guys doing a preliminary investigation of the Rispin Mansion with paranormal investigator Aubrey Graves. We hope you've listened to part 1, but if you have not listened to part 1 yet, we highly recommend you do that before proceeding with part 2. Either way, we hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening. So Zach puts on his hazmat mask and proceeds inside with Aubrey. Zach explains that he is using the full spectrum video camera. Zach says, "The moment this door opens, the concentrated energy pours out thick and heavy like wet cement." He tells us that it's moments like this that I question both our safety physically and mentally. I also worry for your mental safety. We see a dilapidated old building with graffiti everywhere, and there is a ritual circle right in the middle of the floor. Zach looks at the ritual circle and says, "If there's anything in here with intelligence, we challenge you right now to show yourself." He then directs Billy to go in the center of the circle.
I didn't know how I felt about the ritual circle. It kind of felt too
perfect.
Yeah. And I also just think people might know that that's what people think are in there and like to scare people and just do that as graffiti to freak people out, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking how many kids go in there and just like mess around.
Yeah. And like at least in like the Bobby Mackey's, they looked for blood or, you know, anything but they were like, "Oh, this graffiti circle is definitely a portal to hell." Just automatically, it's a portal to hell now.
I was like, I feel like a PA drew that. I feel like this was staged. Like they put that ritual circle right there in the middle.
Yeah. And you know how people say you can tell when someone's lying because they give too many details?
Yeah.
That's like one of
They'd like overcompensate.
Yeah. And he was like, "I've wanted to go in here, but have never been in here. We've not gone in here until the sunset. This is the first time we're opening the door." Like, I was just like, you really think they didn't do any sort of safety check before letting you guys go into building people died in?
That's a good point.
Yeah. You really think they're going to let all y'all?
What if Zach doesn't know that all the producers are actually doing all of this? So he really genuinely believes
what's the Jim Carrey movie? What's that Jim Carrey movie?
Pleasantville?
No.
Oh no. Oh my God, people are screaming right now. Oh my God. The Truman Show.
The Truman Show.
That's what I meant.
Zach is just in the Truman Show right now.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that.
They're just like going in and setting all of this stuff up for him.
Oh my God.
And whenever he shouts at the spirit box and it's just them on a microphone in the background.
Oh my God. I love that.
He's like, "Whoa, there's a ritual circle in the middle of the floor." And the producers are like, he has no idea.
And everyone's, and Aaron's like, "Man, I got to clock out soon."
Yeah. They're like doing the long exposure thing, and somebody's like doing the light show thing in the background, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah. Aaron's being paid to be his friend.
Yeah.
That one might be true.
Maybe all of his bad feelings are from Crafty's. Like Crafty.
Oh, I know. The pain
giving
in his stomach.
They're like,
I'm like, that's called IBS, dude.
They just like every morning he gets there, they give him his coffee. Somebody slips like a little laxative. In it. Oh my God. Anyway, so He tells Billy to go in the center of the circle, and he says, take Aubrey with you and do measurements there. Like, okay. Thank you for
What does the
everybody.
measurements have? Why?
He wants them to take like EMF measurements.
Oh.
Not like with
Did you think they were measuring Aubrey?
No, she's thinking like with a measuring tape.
Measuring the circle.
Like the diameter.
You get out that weird thing that looks like a long tape measure, but it's the motion.
Yeah.
Like, why are they measuring the circle?
What is the diameter? I must know the circumference.
Measure this circle right here. Like, why? Why are we doing this? What's the point?
Yes, to be clear, when he asks him to take measurements, he's talking about with an EMF reader, which for those who don't know, that is an electromagnetic field reader.
This is my first day to the job.
Welcome to our podcast, Lauren.
It's okay, Lauren. All you need to know is Zach thinks everything is real, and you have to keep up the farce.
Yes, we can't let him know the reality. Yeah, and then they let him have a museum, and they're like, yeah, you can keep all your toys in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Zach says, utilizing our tools, our devices, these are the doors to the other side, the platforms for communication, and the key to thorough investigating. Billy and Aubrey go stand near the ritual circle and aim an EMF reader at it. They get a spike of 36.6 milligauss. 36.6 milligauss is the highest reading we have ever seen. Like, that's very high.
To me, it just kind of seemed like, you know, when you turn a thermometer on and it shows the highest number that can go on the screen.
Oh,
and then
like it's a 99. Like it just like shows like 100.
But I mean, you know, the reaction was like, it's abnormal, but that's what it seemed like to me. Like, you know, you turned it off, you turned it on, and you turned it off and back on again.
See, I have to go back and watch and see how long it held at that number.
It was not a long time.
It was like a quick blip.
It was quick.
But that's usually how it works anyways, though, you know?
Yeah. Maybe, maybe not. The world may never know. Zach says it feels like they are being given a tour. Then he says...
What does that even mean?
Well, he says, is this Henry Rispin? Is he leading us to the most dangerous and active areas? If Henry is our guide in this moment, I'm curious as to where he will lead us. So he thinks that Henry Rispin is his tour guide right now. Okay.
And not the Native Americans.
No, the Native Americans never resurface in this whole episode.
Not the nuns.
Not the nuns. Not the Native Americans. Just, it's Henry Rispin.
Not the other dude that owned it.
Yeah.
Not the dude that died there.
Zach tells Aaron to do ITC. Which I was like...
We did get a lot more Aaron in this, which I enjoyed.
Yes, yeah. I agree. They pull out a spirit box and Aaron shouts, "What's in this mansion? In the basement?" And then Zach asks, "What is here with us?" The spirit box says, "The devil." At this point, they replay it and slow down the audio so it sounds extra creepy. So they like replay it twice normal, and then they replay it one more time and it's like, "The devil."
I heard the tech.
No,
I struggled with every single spirit box reading in this episode because I tried to not, like the first time they played it, I tried to like pause it and be like, okay, what do I hear before they told me what I heard, you know?
Yeah.
But even after they told me, I was like, I don't hear that.
I feel like I clearly heard, I feel like a lot of these readings this episode were very clear.
Yeah, I did too.
Really? Oh, well, yeah. I did research on how I was like, I've got to know how this fucking works because.
So I'm so used to the old episodes. Like I haven't watched the show in the more recent years. So I'm only like used to what it used to be, but it used to be really hard to hear what they were saying. Mm-hmm. And recently it's like some of it comes through so clearly that I'm like, this sounds like it's fake because it comes through so clearly. Like, it makes me question the authenticity because like it just sounds like people speaking on a microphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now Zach asks, can you tell us how many of us are here? The spirit box says 7. They head back over to the ritual circle.
So I'm assuming there were 7.
Yes, there were
Allegedly.
7 of them. Allegedly.
There is a wide shot that shows all of them, and I'm like,
but they never he never, after the spirit box says 7, he doesn't say, oh my God, like, yes, there's 7.
Yes, he does. He does say that. He says there are 7 of us.
He says that, but he says it after they look at the ritual circle. And I was like, that's weird.
Oh,
I think that's what happened. Because I remember making like a mental note of like, okay, he didn't confirm for us if there's 7 of them. So anyway, so they head back over to the ritual circle, and Aubrey points out that there are 7 smaller circles around the pentagram. To explain this, there is one large circle, and then there's 7 circles spaced out around a pentagram that's in the middle of the circle.
Like a clock, but not.
Kind of like a clock, like where the numbers would go on a clock.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 smaller circles look like they're strategic for people to stand in. Like they're the perfect size for people to put their feet in. And I wrote,
think you put things in there like rocks
maybe.
And shit and bones and
Elements.
Oh, thank you, elements.
Oh,
rather than
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that could be true as well.
Yeah.
Earth, wind,
fire,
heart.
With our powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
That was a great show.
Such a great show.
I know. I felt recycling.
Yeah, exactly. Cared about the earth. So Zach says, talk about synchronicities and intelligence. This is chilling on a whole different level. Because they now realize there's 7 circles and that the spirit box said 7 and that there are actually 7 of them, which, if this was not staged, is very creepy. Also maybe creaky because it's an old house.
Yeah.
Zach starts prompting the spirit box to tell us Aubrey's name. It takes a little while, but we suddenly hear a voice come through and say Aubrey. The voice communicating with them at this point sounded to me like a teenage boy. And like, this is where they start alluding to them thinking it was Henry Rispin. But to me, the voice that they were initially hearing sounded like a younger person to me.
And why would it be Henry?
And yeah, exactly.
Oh, do we have information on where Henry died?
Oh, it started with a C. They say it. It's just like another county.
The wife and the son didn't die there either, right?
Nope.
No, not in the house.
Yeah, the Aubrey thing too was weird because they, like, the name Aubrey is 2 syllables, and it was like Aubrey.
Yeah, it said it like 3 syllables. I noticed that too.
Like, and she immediately was like, "That's me," you know.
Yeah.
I was like, "Can we just like listen to this before people start telling me what it's saying?"
Well, so to me, it sounded like a younger person. Now, the voice that they do pick up later did not sound like a younger person to me. So I thought that was interesting because at this point, Zach starts saying that he believes that they are in direct contact with Henry Allen Rispin. And I said, I do not agree with that because this voice sounds younger to me than Henry's photo would suggest he was when he died. I could see him haunting it from the sense of like,
that was his house that he built.
This was like his dream that was never fulfilled type of thing. And so he comes back to haunt it because it like tortured him in life. So now it's torturing
like
him in death kind of thing.
Yeah, like unfinished business for him.
7 years is how long he lived there. So it was built in 21 and by 29 it was foreclosed on and auctioned off.
Right. And like we've said before, you don't have to haunt
where you die.
Place you die.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could just be to me, it's you haunt a place of significance to you. So if this was a very significant place to him, maybe he is haunting it. But did I think that sounded like Henry Rispin coming through? No, it seemed like a younger person to me.
Yeah, the nuns were there for 17 years, and then it was vacant most of.
The nuns were there for a longer period of time, and you would assume maybe there was a nun or two that died while they were there.
Probably,
possibly.
That's actually really true.
Like, I don't know. Not all nuns are young.
Mm-hmm. And if she was yelling "Get out," like that, if the woman in black that is seen yells "Get out," knowing that the nuns ended up leaving because people kept peering in at them, as much as this can make sense.
Zach,
that makes sense.
We think you need to go back and redo this whole episode. Make the curse about the nuns.
There you go.
Get rid of the Native American stuff. Get rid of Henry Rispin. The curse is nun-related.
Yeah, maybe tie in how the movie. Satanic ritual people wanted to like oppose the positive forces that the nuns brought there.
Right.
You know?
And so the nuns get pissed and the nuns are like, get out of our place. Because
so much better than
seriously.
Dude,
who decided to go with the Henry Rispin of it all?
The dude who built it and just happened to lose his money in the Great Depression like everyone else.
Yeah.
Poor Henry.
So
do a movie tie-in. Come on. There's like ways that we can, you know, do a franchise, you know.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of money to be made in nun horror.
Exactly.
Hey, there's the Nun and the Nun 2.
Now we can do a Nun 3.
Is there a Nun 3?
No, now we can do a Nun 3.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, these are the poor Claires. The Nun 3. The poor Claires.
The poor Claires. Oh my God. Okay. So now they leave after all of that activity. Zach sits in their equipment truck and starts reflecting on what just happened. Ow. Sorry, I burped.
And then
it just like came up out of me.
Just like Zach, you had to expel it like Zach. Maybe that's what's happening.
It was an entity coming out of me.
Oh my gosh, we have to do that when we get when we test this equipment. We need to give you like a LaCroix and see if when you burp.
Oh, if it's a black
bubble. It's a black mist.
Oh my God, this is going to be so much fun.
I'm keeping all of this in, by the way. Okay, so he says he felt like he was a translator between Aubrey and the entity that's in there. He said he also started feeling like he wanted to get away from her towards the end. Aubrey comes over and starts explaining that she felt that he was angry towards the end of the session and that she also felt weird. Zach explains that he is going to interview a historian to find out more.
Wait, would you not feel weird in an abandoned location
where a man in felt angry at you?
Supposed ritual circle with a bunch of people you just met with a TV camera watching you?
But like, how funny would it be if you were getting interviewed by a host and you felt like he was angry at you?
Yeah, I mean, I would feel deeply uncomfortable.
And then he like admits to being angry at you.
Yeah,
that part was funny too when he was like, "Well, yeah, but
I was.
This is about me. Wasn't I angry at you?
Did you feel my tension?"
But he like blames it on the ghost. Like he blames it on like the energy of the house. Like, yeah, I was angry at you.
Yeah, it's weird. That whole
then I'd be like, let's not go back in there together because I feel like you might hurt me.
It was weird. His approach was weird.
He was like, didn't you feel that weird tension between me and you?
Yeah, it was
like sexual tension.
And she's like, I mean,
he's like, didn't you feel how angry I was towards you? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I felt you angry towards me. Like, you weirdo.
Yeah, what was that?
Like, why were you mad at me? Like, I don't know you, dude. Like, why are you mad?
Very strange. And I'm like, I didn't even understand what he was trying to allude to. I'm like, are you trying to say that the spirit that you were possessed in that moment and that the spirit didn't like Aubrey? Like, I didn't understand why he was even bringing that up. But
I think he was probably just mad they said Aubrey and not Zach.
Probably.
You know?
Like,
even though he asked them
Zach,
to.
They say your name all the time. Like, it's
on the
we've seen it happen so many times. So Zach explains that he's going to interview a historian to find out more. Now, this gets real interesting at this point. So Aubrey.
Funny.
Well, also it's really
but
sad.
Marianne's not the historian. She's another paranormal investigator. The historians are the two ladies.
Yeah, I know. But he said that she was a historian. And I was like, that's what I thought that was weird too. Because when the other two historians come up, I was like, oh, these are the historians.
Maybe that was an editing blip on their part.
Maybe. So I don't know. So he says he's going to interview somebody. So Aubrey begins telling Zach that the lady he's going to interview is her enemy.
Nemesis.
Yeah. She says enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. She said the word enemy. And I was like, that is a strong word. Like nemesis to me would actually be a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Than enemy. Like nemesis to me is like, okay, we go like tit for tat and like, I know you don't like me and you know I don't like you, but like we're in the same circles, whatever. Enemy to me is like you are afraid of this person. So she says that this lady has always been jealous of her and she basically stopped publicizing her work because of this lady, meaning Aubrey stopped publicizing her work because of this lady. Then
I want to know more about this.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, can we
can we just like pivot the whole episode and just make it about this feud? Because
that's exactly what I was
thinking.
Give
me the paranormal tape.
Like, fuck the investigation. Can we like dive deep into this?
I feel like the way she said it, she stopped publicizing her work because of this lady, which makes me think that this woman was like being really nasty on, like, she sounds like she was being a troll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Aubrey continues that she attempted to take her own life 2 months ago and almost died.
Because of her.
Because she didn't say exactly because of this woman, but that is basically
I think she alluded to it.
That's what she was alluding to, and that was really sad.
Making her like question herself, which is horrible.
Yeah. So I felt like Zach handled this well.
Yeah.
He asks if she's okay now, and she says yeah. And then he says, "I'm glad you're still here. Don't do that again."
Yeah. I thought that, saying I'm glad you're still here, that was really great. You did really great, Zach.
You did really great, but only for a very short few seconds, because right immediately after that, as he's walking away from Aubrey, he turns to the camera and says, "You know what would be interesting? If that lady is her enemy, we should take her and put her in the same circle. Like, let's just see what happens."
I didn't really understand that either. What?
I thought he was saying, and this is not what happened, but I thought he wanted to put Aubrey and the lady together in the circle. That's how I envisioned it.
Fucked up.
And I was like, oh my God, what's about to happen right now? I got really excited. But that's
you got excited?
Because I was like, whoa, like, damn, Zach, you're going to put this like Aubrey in the same circle as this lady when they hate each other?
Oh my God.
At first I was like, what is this? All feels like so perfect, this episode. But then I'm thinking like, okay, I guess maybe this is like a small town and they're paranormal investigators. Like, how many paranormal investigation groups are there in this small town? So I kind of rationalized myself out of that a bit there.
And I was confused because I thought she was a historian, and I thought she was like basically saying that Aubrey was fake because she was a paranormal investigator or something. And she was like, no, that's not historically accurate. Kind of like we do on this podcast.
Yeah. All in good fun. All in good fun.
So now we meet Marianne, Aubrey's arch nemesis. Zach tells us that she was present at the investigation in 2012. Marianne explains that she saw the woman back in 2012 fall down the stairs, and that when she got up, she truly thought that somebody had kicked her. Zach leads Marianne to the ritual circle. He says, I don't know why, but I feel like their conflict could act as a key to unlock this portal. And if we could peek inside, maybe we could find the source of the Rispin curse.
Why?
What the hell are you talking about?
He's just trying to stir shit.
Yeah. What makes something a portal officially? Drawing a circle?
What on earth would make you think that putting two people who don't like each other in the same circle be a key that can unlock it? Like,
I think he's just using buzzwords. Portal. Key,
I mean, I do
unlock.
think harboring negative energy does do things, but I mean,
but again, I think they would have to both be in the circle, even if that's the case. Wouldn't you think they'd have to be in the circle at the same time? Zach asks Marianne if she knows Aubrey and if they are on good terms or bad terms. She says yes, that she knows her and that they are on not good terms. That was kind of the end of like their feud, was just her admitting that they weren't on good terms.
I bet she said more shit and the producers were like, we can't.
Yeah, we're going to cut that out.
We're not going to put that in there.
The guys all
legal shit.
Right. The guys all stand in their spots in the circle, so with Marianne. So each person's in one of the 7 circles. They have an XLS camera, and so that's the stick figure camera, and it's aimed at her. So for those who have not listened to our other episodes or watched other episodes of Ghost Adventures, the XLS camera is like, if you remember the Xbox Connect, it tracks looking for human figures. And so it tracked her as a human figure and put a stick figure on her. Zach asks the spirit box to tell us Marianne's name. We hear something, but we can't make out what it's saying. Zach tells us that while we couldn't make it out at the time, when reviewing the audio afterwards, they discover a threatening message, which makes it what happens next very disturbing. While this is happening, we see a figure begin to appear on the XLS camera behind Marianne. Zach tells Marianne to hold the spirit box. On the XLS, a huge black mist appears and then disappears up and to the right of Marianne. Marianne says, "You're not allowed to hurt me." We hear something on the spirit box that I can't make out, but Aaron believes it says, "I can" or "I can't resist."
I heard "I can't resist."
Yeah.
I couldn't. This was when they were going so fast and not repeating it that I was frustrated.
Yeah.
But did you guys also pay attention to the XLS stick figure guy and like what?
Yes, I did notice that there was graffiti on the wall.
Oh,
or something.
Yeah. My mom even noticed that
it.
My mom even noticed that on as well.
And the graffiti behind Billy, I think there were handprints.
Yeah,
in the graffiti, and the XLS, the Connect, the whole job is to find things to look like a human figure.
Like yeah,
and it can often misread like furniture, or reflections are a big thing.
So sorry, so Aaron hears it say "I can" or "I can't resist." Lauren, you said you heard "I can't."
I can't resist.
Yeah,
I didn't hear shit. I mean, I heard shit, but I couldn't make any of it out. So fast.
And then it says, "Now leave." Zach points out that they've been hearing the same voice since they came in there. Marianne says that it feels like the temperature dropped. Zach says, "Hey, the man that keeps talking, what's your last name?" We hear something muffled, but Marianne thinks it said Rispin. She says, "Henry Rispin?" And it sounds like he replies, "Henry Allen." Now, this voice that they start hearing to me sounds older. This voice that starts coming through to me sounded different than the voice they were hearing earlier. They think that they got the same voice the entire time. So I don't know. They decide to call it a night so they can prepare for the evidence review the following day. Zach says, "We have yet to realize how truly historic this investigation is." Now they do this annoying evidence review thing, which in the middle of the episode, and I was like, why are we doing this? I was like, do we have nothing else to show? I don't know. I prefer. It was weird. I prefer when they do an evidence review towards the end after they collect everything, and then they're able to kind of build a story or piece it together. Anyway, so it's the following day, and the guys head to the Capitola City Hall. Then they start reviewing all the words they captured initially on the polterpod, which is the spirit box. We clearly hear a man's voice say, fear, do it, heart, and stop. We then see footage where Zach accidentally caught footage on the full spectrum camera of a pretty clear mist appearing on the left-hand side of the screen.
I wrote, Zach captured a piece of falling skin.
Ew. It did look like it was falling like faster than most of the mists and things we see, which I thought was weird.
I didn't think it looked like mist. It did look like just something like
something fell.
Yeah.
Like maybe just like drywall or stuff falling from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
why did you think a piece of skin?
I was just because
like
he was holding flake. Like a skin flake from his, I don't know, from his, or even like dandruff or like something from his hair gel. I don't know. I just wrote it in a jokey way.
Okay, so they then walk through the XLS footage and they notice right before the stick figure appeared behind Marianne that there was a black ball that blips onto the screen for a second, and it was heading in the same direction of where the stick figure appeared. Zach says it looks like it's trying to get inside her. Speaking about the stick figure, and I was like, that's not what it looked like at all. Again, just like when Aaron was saying that it looked like Zach's energy came out of his body and that the stick figure was trying to fight his energy.
I'm just like thinking ahead about Billy's interpretation about what comes on the ovulus.
Oh my God. Bill, I actually think Billy and Jay both would probably be very funny characters if they had more screen time.
Yeah, but Zach sucks up.
But Zach, like, they're literally just these silent figures until I think this episode. And I was like, oh, Billy seems like fun. And Jay seems like he's probably kind of funny.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So they replay what the spirit box had said at this point, and now they're realizing that it is saying something like, trap a soul. That's not what I heard. I was like, what? Okay. That's an interpretation.
Yeah.
So instead of I can't resist, they think it said hard to resist.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll
then
have to insert.
Yeah, we have to insert the audio.
I would love to hear them again.
And then they hear Rispin and Henry Allen. Zach said,
I feel strongly about the Henry Allen one because I think I paused it and rewound it. Oh, random thought. I heard Chi-Town, which is what they call Chicago. Thay-Che. Not Thay-Che, but I heard Chi-Town, which is a nickname for Chicago. I did not hear anything remotely like Henry Allen.
I'm just trying to think of why anybody would have said Chi-Town. Because that wasn't, I don't know.
I mean, well, we can discuss further when I get into my research on both of these devices.
Okay. I need to listen to that audio specifically because I don't think I heard anything that sounded like Chi-Town.
Maybe the pink eye drops are making me.
Mel, why is somebody in Capitola, California saying Chi-Town? Why is a ghost in Capitola, California?
You're also assuming that I believe that ghosts can use this device because so far I'm very like the spirit box. I don't think.
Anyway. You don't think the spirit box has any voices coming through it?
No, I do.
Oh.
We'll get.
Do you think it's somebody on a microphone? Okay, we're going to get to haunted dogs.
Yeah, we'll get.
Okay. Zach says that before they go back to the Rispin Mansion to investigate, he wants to learn more about Henry Allen Rispin, so they are going to meet with someone who knows everything about him, so that if he comes through during the investigation, they will know more about who he is. We're about to meet Carolyn Swift and Deborah Osterberg. They are local historians. Zach says he wants to understand the nature of the curse that the mansion is under. So now the guys do this fun little gimmick in the middle of this episode. They hail an old-timey 1940s cab.
It was the cutest cab ever.
It was very
so
cute.
I loved
fresh.
it.
They hail it to go meet with the gals. It said something on the back of it like Shadow Brook or something like that, Shadow Creek. Shadows.
Oh,
Like our shadow people. So they hop in it to go meet with the girls. They really just wanted a chance to ride in this like old little cab because it drops them off like 10 feet from where they had been, and they're in on the joke. It's a whole running joke.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be serious.
And I love it because I tell you that I was watching it with my mom, and she totally did not like get it. She was like, "Why did they?" I was like, "Mom, it was a joke."
Yeah.
They just wanted an excuse.
Yeah.
And then like when they get out of it, Zach's like, "Oh man, gotta stretch my legs."
Yeah.
So silly.
His way of delivering jokes is so odd, though.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, and then I did appreciate this from him. Like he's in on the joke about the way he says things, because after they all get out of the cab, he says, "Although a long drive, it was worth the reward." So
it's
silly.
very like dad jokey, but is he a dad? Do we know if he's a dad?
I think so,
no. So now Zach is sitting with Carolyn and Deborah at a little outdoor restaurant or cafe on the water. Now this is where Mel was talking about. It's like this little, like, I don't know, little town on the bay. It's got like colorful houses on it.
Really
it reminds me of
really cute.
P-Town. I think they call it P-Town. Outside of Cape Cod, which is has a very big gay community. We were there for Bear Weekend.
Oh,
which was so fun. It's super cute. Very New England-y.
Love it. Well, this was a place where I wanted to go. I was like, this reminds me of Europe. Carolyn explains that Rispin wanted to come in and quickly make a profit. She explains that he had overextended himself and tried to do more than he had the money for. He built the mansion in 1921, and by 1923, he was already eager to sell. And he wanted to divest himself of Capitola. She basically is saying he just wanted to get out of there. Zach asks why he would give up on everything and want to leave. Deborah explains that he had been trying to attract other wealthy people to come to Capitola, and Zach asks why they didn't come. Carolyn says, nobody knows, really. That's the mystery. It should have succeeded. But to Mel's point, nobody talks about the Great Depression during this whole episode.
Yeah.
So after he loses the mansion, he left and no one knew where he went. Deborah says he dies totally penniless, and that's why he's buried in an unmarked grave at the Olivet Cemetery up in Colma. So I guess Colma is where he had moved afterward. So now Zach asks what they know about the curse. Carolyn says it wasn't a place that is welcoming to people. It was always this odd building down by the creek, and it dominated the whole landscape. She says after the Rispin era, I didn't know what they were saying. She said after Poor Claire's, it sat there for 20 years and nothing that was ever proposed for the Rispin Mansion, a hotel, retirement center, etc. All these ideas, none of them succeeded. And she says nothing has ever worked there. They say the whole Rispin era thing is so mysterious. And Deborah says there has to be something more to it. So they just lean right on into the theory.
Hold on, I need to correct myself earlier. Because when you were saying the dates, it confused me for a minute. Whiskey Pete died in 1933. Not Henry Allen Rispin. He died in 1947.
That's even further back. Like, that's a much longer distance.
Yes. I just wanted to clarify that the date 1933
was stuck in your head.
Was stuck in my head because it was when
That's
Whiskey
okay.
Pete died.
We forgive you.
And it was around the same time. Prohibition.
We also don't fact check anything on this podcast. So
I know.
fine.
Well, I was doing the fact searching, so I just misspoke.
We don't fact check ourselves.
His death didn't really matter to the history, so I don't think I wrote that down. And he didn't sell it for 7 years.
Well, and he didn't sell it. I thought it foreclosed.
Yeah, but like that would have been the Great Depression started in 29.
Right.
So that would have been in the middle of Prohibition. So that could be a reason no one wanted to put money into something like that. But anyway, I'm sorry. Just wanted to call myself out there for everyone.
That's okay. Okay, so now finally we head into the actual investigation. So
the lockdown.
Yes, the lockdown. So we're back at the Rispin Mansion in night vision. Zach says, we are now getting ready for our lockdown here at the very cursed, the very abandoned, the very haunted, the very terrifying Rispin Mansion.
He's trying to manifest.
He's just trying to convince us is basically what's happening. He reminds us that they are only the second group to ever be able to investigate. They head into Nerve Center where Jay is set up with the equipment. The cameras are already picking up activity before they have any chance to get settled in, but they quickly realize that what they thought was activity was actually just bats. Cute little
really laughed at the bat part. The debunked the stamp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were like, bats, debunked.
Yeah.
Zach introduces us to a new piece of equipment. Okay, this is what you guys have been waiting for. Invented and engineered by Bill Chappell. This thing looks like it was made for Inspector Gadget. It's
I didn't know he said who invented it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, no, he didn't say this. I said, it's like a giant Apple Watch, but more analog than that. He explains that you wear it on your wrist and there's a thermal gradient, a thermal high-low, a tracking camera, a yes or no communication feature, an ITC feature, a phonetic generator, a shadow detector.
For shadow people.
Okay,
so is this like a little camera on the watch?
I was trying to understand it.
No, it looks like it's from an 80s movie.
It really does.
Yes.
That's what it's like somebody
like from Back to the Future.
It's like Back to the Future. It's like if somebody were to guess what something from the future would look like, but from the 80s.
Yep.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Yes. The computer screen on it is very crude. Like it does not look like anything we use in today's world, which I'm like, if somebody invented this recently, like I think they could have done a little bit better.
What's the kid from Goonies? Is it Beta?
The Goonies always kind of.
He's got all the gadgets.
Data.
Oh, Data.
No.
Data.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is Data.
Yeah, Data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I was like, it reminds me of Inspector Gadget. Like, something that he would have had.
Gadget.
Yeah.
Everything. Oh, yeah. Inspector Gadget literally had a little watch that the little hands would come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he says there's a light to sound feature, which turns unexplained light manifestations into sound. What?
I have struggled so much.
I understand how that's a thing. You can do that with a lot of different things. But what is that supposed to tell us? Like, what does that sound like? Are spirits somehow supposed to manipulate the light to send a message that we can then hear as a sound or a word?
I didn't hear him say the name of the person who invented it, but
I think he just wanted to show off his gadget.
Yeah, it was probably stupid expensive. But why are we just supposed to innately believe that the credibility of any of these people that invent these new devices that they show? You know, like how do I know this shit isn't off Temu? What?
I mean, I will say it's Gary Galka had a really good a reason for developing his device, and he also had the scientific background to develop a device like that. So like I don't know anything about this guy, Bill Chappell.
Yeah. I wish they would do more explanation than just insert name drop here.
Anyway, so I said the only thing this thing is missing is the damn infinity video loop, which I'm really glad it didn't have.
Still don't understand. Yeah, the Etch-a-Sketch.
I hate.
Well, he doesn't actually really use it though. He used it for the one thing, but
it's like, hey guys, look at my cool watch.
He just wanted to show it off.
Yeah, Zach switches it up to ITC and asks if they are okay to enter, and if not, what would happen to them. The ITC shows it's like an ovulus. It says the word boot. The guys are like, oh my God, the girl who got kicked down the stairs. They all start freaking out. Zach asks, what kind of print was on her when she got kicked? And Aaron says, a boot print. So they walk into the mansion and Zach says to Henry, we just heard that a little girl went, they just heard this. We just heard that a little girl went missing in here and she was never found again. Where did they hear this? Where did they get the information from? If they just heard it, did Carolyn and Deborah tell
was
them
it
this?
Literally like that weekend a little girl was missing and then they found
Did it just happen? Did Zach
no idea
kidnap the little girl? Is that what happened? Zach, tell us the truth.
Also, that it was just weird that I don't know
that he just brought it up randomly in the investigation without any
without any context to anything.
Rispin didn't have a little girl. Like there's no little girl.
No. So they head to a room that has a pentagram on the floor. This is a different pentagram.
Oh.
And Billy's, I'm almost positive it was a different pentagram in a different room. But again, this was very confusing to keep track of which rooms they were actually in. Billy sets up a motion detection strip directly over it. The strip looks like an LED light strip, like the ones that people put up in their offices or like you put up in a kid's bedroom. And then we see a blue dot going back and forth on it. And Billy says, that sweeping blue dot you see is to show how it is working. No, sorry. To show that it is working, not how. We would all love to know how.
See that light that says it's on? That means it's on.
It means it's on. He points out that the sensor at the end of the rope will sense any movement along this area.
Was that just along the line or was it like a diameter kind of thing?
It was on the pentagram. He's saying if there's any activity around the pentagram because they put the strip down there, it would pick up any of that activity. I don't know. Zach suddenly interrupts him and says he has a really bad fucking stomach pain. He says he can't prove that it's caused by a malevolent spirit, but it is coincidental timing.
I'm going to start using that. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
As an excuse.
Guys.
Not that, hey, that wasn't coffee, guys, from before.
Uh-huh.
It's the spirit.
No.
That was
you had to expel it.
Yeah.
That
was a demon.
I'm not burping right now.
That was a demon I had to expel earlier, guys.
I just have demons coming out of me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they start heading down to the basement, and Zach starts asking Henry where the little girl went. Okay. They start wandering around. Aaron is by himself.
I'm so confused about this little girl that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's same. I looked it up too. I tried. I looked on Reddit. I couldn't. I looked other places than just Reddit, but
yeah. We don't know. They start wandering around. Aaron is by himself setting up a camera, and Billy wanders off from Zach. Zach gets freaked out when he can't find Billy. Aaron suddenly shouts, Zach, come here right now. I love when they do that, when they say right now, get over here.
I know.
Aaron says that he heard something crawling underneath the floorboards.
But he was also stomping.
Yeah.
But also Billy walked underneath.
Yes.
Billy just walked.
Like, I'm almost positive it was Billy.
It was just Billy.
Yeah. Same.
Okay, yeah. So explain. Billy just went downstairs, and then Aaron starts stomping on the ground.
So let's be clear. The way that they show this, though, is we don't know where Billy went.
Well,
first.
he says
no. They do show Billy.
They show him go downstairs.
Yeah. No, they show Billy going downstairs.
So Zach even narrates it.
Yeah,
saying Billy heads off downstairs, and I don't know about it. And then Aaron starts screaming.
And then Aaron starts stomping on the ground. Somebody's downstairs. Somebody's downstairs. And we're like, yeah, Billy's downstairs.
The downstairs is also tiny. Like, from looking at the floor plan, they say, like, he said it's like, I'm in the boiler room.
Yeah.
It's not a boiler room. It's just like the mechanical area.
Yeah. Well, he says that he heard something crawling underneath the floorboards. He says it sounds like someone is underneath the boards. We then cut to Billy, who headed all the way down to the boiler room.
The boards.
Yes, who's underneath the boards, which is the lowest point in the mansion. He pulls out an ovulus and immediately gets the word child. Is that because they are now thinking about the word child?
Yeah. I also wouldn't be surprised if, like, a family of possums live in this place.
Well, that was my other thing. Even if it wasn't Billy, like, let's say the boiler room wasn't directly under where they were. We just saw bats.
Yeah.
Like we know that there are animals in this place that probably are making weird noises.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rats.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
So, okay. So Billy gets the word child. Billy asks what happened to the child who went missing, and he gets the word hobble. Billy explains that's usually when they break their ankles so they can't escape.
Hobbling.
I was like, I'm sorry. That's what we explain about hobble.
Isn't hobbling like a hobbled along?
Well, I guess. Okay, so yes, hobble along stems from the actual definition of hobble, which Zach then has to narrate the definition because of Billy's random association. So then Zach's like, hobble, defined as a form of torture, repeated blows to one's ankle and feet in order to immobilize them.
Sure, maybe in the medieval times.
Well, that's what I said when he started
the 20s.
When he started defining that, I was just like, I'm sorry, where did that even come from?
I'm curious, what did your mom think at that point?
I don't even know if she was paying attention. But when he spat that definition out, I was like, breaking ankles. Where are we? What?
I was like, this shit got dark about this little girl we just learned about.
Yeah, right. He was like, yes, hobble. Where you break ankles. Her ankle was definitely broken to immobilize her. I'm like, what are we talking about right now?
Yeah. And he's like, obviously.
I'm like, how did we get here?
And then I was thinking, like, what if, like, okay, let's say there was a little girl who went missing. Like, what if she just tripped in this place and, like, messed her ankle up because it's, like, dangerous? And so she was hobbling, and that's all it was saying. Like, she was kind of, like, trying to get out of there, and she was hobbling out.
And
or
also,
what if the word was, they were trying to say hovel? Isn't hovel, like, word for, like,
what is a hovel?
A home? Like a small hovel? Am I saying that wrong?
No, I think you're right.
And you know, this dictionary didn't have hovel, so it put hobble.
So wait, what do you you think the little girl was just at home this whole time?
I don't think there was a little girl for one.
In her hovel?
In her little hovel, yeah.
Or like, don't we hobble? Do you hobble do you like hobble things together? Don't you like
cobble? Like a shoe cobbler?
Cobbler. Anyway, does it matter? No, because we don't know anything about this missing little girl.
Now we know Billy just randomly thinks about hobble.
Well, so then Billy asks if she was kidnapped, and the ovulus says solid, hair, nail.
Also, the idea of this spirit just like switching to kind of like slang response.
Uh-huh.
I just
solid.
But also we don't. We're like, did they ever find the girl? Do we know that her? Ankles were
Mel
broken?
couldn't find anything about a missing
Billy?
girl.
Made this whole scenario up. He was like, oh yeah, hobble. Obviously they like rendered her
Obviously, they broke her
immobile.
ankles to immobilize her. I'm like,
and then
I-
used her hair and nails in a
Yeah, then,
ritual.
of course, so Zach poses the question, was she beaten and then used in a dark
Torture.
summoning ritual?
I'm like, oh my God.
That's dark, but okay, I
Yeah.
guess. We are now back with Aaron, and he says, who is that under the floorboard? He's really upset about this.
I like how he's stomping though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is
he like
that?
stomps on it. I wrote, I'm assuming it was Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Billy, I mean, obviously it's Billy. He
There's
just
probably
walked
some
over there.
small
Billy's in the
part of
basement.
Aaron though that was afraid of it being a critter and
Yeah.
was like stomping back to scare it off. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be fucking anything.
Well, he stays like super amped up, and he's like, I'm not fucking kidding, Zach. I swear to God. He swears that it sounded like someone was under the floorboards crawling on the ground. Like he thinks that the person was doing an army crawl.
Ooh, that's creepy.
I'm like, what? You have a wild imagination sometimes, Aaron.
Love it.
So they head back to the room where Aaron had been taking extended exposure UV Polaroids to check the now developed pictures. Aaron grabs the photos and he's speechless.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting. They discover that several of the photos have very strange patterns on them. Like to me, it looked like as if somebody was drawing on them with their nail or something. Like because it was
like
such a
condensation.
thin, like a thin line.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron says, I have never seen this. They film a close-up of the Polaroid camera lens to show us that there are no cracks or patterns on the lens. They then take the photos back to Nerve Center to examine them and double-check that they weren't somehow damaged or something. They look like the patterns could somehow connect, so Jay starts moving them around to see if they create a clearer picture when connected. Zach says when the photos are put together, the patterns connect like a puzzle. Zach asks what these 4 puzzle pieces being put together means for them. Aaron wants to go back and take more photos to see if more patterns emerge.
I was really glad they went back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wrote down, like, I really think they should go back and take more.
Yeah.
Yeah. He takes another photo, and as it develops, we see a large orb in it start to show. As they look at the photo, they hear a loud bang, and Zach says, oh my God, guys, my heart is going to stop. I need to calm down. Now, they didn't say this, but at this point, I thought they were going to say, oh my God, the ovulus said heart, stop.
Oh.
Because they had pointed that out earlier, but
Oh, yeah.
they never said it. I was like, oh, missed opportunity, boys.
I forgot about that. You're right.
They head towards where the sound came from and find a board laying on the ground. Zach says, could this have happened due to gravity, or could Henry Rispin have done this to try to scare us out of his home? They head back to the main ritual room where they originally started talking to Henry, and Aaron pulls out the polterpod. Aaron says, Henry, can you come back and talk to us? We immediately hear a voice on the spirit box. Zach says, this is beyond incredible, because this is the same exact voice they heard talking to them the night before, who they believe to be Henry Rispin. For the first time, they capture a voice that is female saying something that sounds like help, and then what sounds like, to me, it sounded like a nervous laugh. They said it was an evil laugh, but I didn't necessarily hear it as evil. I was just like, it just sounded like an uncomfortable laughter. Right after they capture that, they capture a light anomaly falling from the left side of the ceiling towards the polterpod. Zach asks, hey, who was laughing at us? Because, God forbid, a woman laughs at him. Couldn't handle it.
Seriously.
And then we hear a man's voice clearly say, you're next. Then we hear the voice say, they're coming. They suddenly start to feel freezing cold. Zach asks, are we in danger? Billy says, did you do that to the pictures? We hear a woman's voice say, listening. I don't know what that had to do with anything.
Wait, when did they hear help? Was that way back?
It was when they first came into this room.
I thought that they said help.
No, they heard a female voice. It was the first time they heard a female voice.
Oh,
and she
sounds
said
like help.
something that sounded like help.
So and then they said help after that, right?
I think they repeated her.
Okay.
So at one point I heard very helpful. And then instead of help, I heard Emily. And then I heard the laughter. So whatever was right before the laughter, it sounded like Emily to me.
I don't trust anything you hear.
Guys.
Chi-town.
Listen to it again, ma'am.
Oh, we are definitely going to add that in.
I mean, think if it was Emily, they could be like, the little girl was named Emily. You know, they could have. I heard Emily.
Yeah.
Okay. Just telling you what I heard. It's just the silly whatever they think they heard.
No, you're completely right. It is just as silly as whatever they think they heard. So Zach ends the investigation by saying how stunned they are by the level of evidence we documented. They documented, not us. This mansion has many portals, and I believe we unlocked them by putting the puzzle pieces together.
If you just put the puzzle pieces together, the synchronicities.
Oh, the Polaroids really stumped me. I was like, that's weird. And they are different. But after I've thought about it, I have a theory.
Mel's got a theory brewing in her brain. She's convinced that ghosts are just a glitchy pain.
Okay.
And that's the only thing I can really think of. Because they flipped it over, checked the bag, they took more. I don't know what kind of camera he was using or how you load the Polaroids in there, if it's one by one, but it looked like it could have been an imprint of something on the like in the production of the Polaroid film on the front of it. That was on like paper. Like, I mean, literally, it could have been some dude doodling on on a sheet of paper at the top that happened to be like under or on top of the Polaroids, and it imprinted into the undeveloped film, which then showed up.
All like,
but this. How did they? Yeah, they were.
Because I'm saying, like, what if he was drawing on whatever was on top of it was one connected piece, and it imprinted only on the soft film?
You're saying in the factory where they made the photos?
Yes, I'm saying it's like a flaw in the production of the film. And that's why they were like connected, and it was just like a light imprint on the front side. I
thought it was more likely like Aaron had these Polaroids just kind of floating around in his bag or something. They were he had a pen in there, and the pen just kept hitting them in a weird way because the pattern was so odd, and like it wasn't like it didn't have a rhyme or reason. It wasn't creating a picture that suddenly came to life for us or anything.
Well, they even said like maybe it was like a doodle. Maybe not in manufacturing. To your point, Aaron does have this stuff. Maybe Aaron's taking notes on top of the Polaroids on a sheet of paper, not knowing he's indenting things with a doodle, and it only did it on the actual film and not where you like hold the Polaroid.
I was going to say, I wonder how many accidental things happen where it's mistaken for paranormal.
Oh, got to be so many, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's definitely things, I think, especially on this show, where they just lean into it when something happens and then they're like, dude, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that leads us right into Haunted or Hoax. Time for us to tell everybody our thoughts.
Do you want me to?
Looks like she's ready to go first.
So I had a lot of trouble wrapping my brain around how to interpret these sounds and stuff without really understanding how it functions. So for spirit boxes, they cycle through AM and FM frequencies at like a rate of 300 somethings per something, super fast, which is static but it is also voices from those radio stations.
Yes.
Right? Because what I was asking was, are
like
the spirit
active radio stations?
like active radio stations? And it's
But the point is that it's supposed to be moving so quickly that it doesn't actually pick up anything from those radio stations, as far as like it wouldn't stay on a station long enough to pick up a word from a station.
No, yes and no. It's going through those stations, but the theory is that the spirit picks out like the beginning of someone saying like die, and then no, and then someone else says soar, and they put it together and it says dinosaur from 3 different radio stations, and the spirit is manipulating that. Does that make sense? The voice is not the ghost's voice.
That is not how I ever understood this.
Because, I mean, think about it. That's the frequency, and the ghosts are just, it's like the Ovilus, but not, you know, like they're choosing from frequencies out there with already formed words to create their own words, which is why when it's the same voice
is Aubrey.
Yeah, so that's why they're broken up kind of how they are.
But why does it still sound like it's all from when somebody's saying a full word? It sounds like it's one voice.
One person.
I don't know. It could be a podcast, like like wherever, or a radio show where it's the same host's voice, and you know, maybe it's something like that, and they tapped into, like, you know, if I'm thinking on the spiritual side, they're like, okay, this person kind of sounds like me. I think I can tap into all of their whatever, especially if it's a show going on at that time. It makes sense for the voices to potentially be the same. Yeah. So that's how that functions. And then the Ovilus, I was wondering, I was like, okay, this is a pre-loaded dictionary. What are those words? And what if they're like only spooky words, you know, that they put in there?
Right. Yeah.
So I was curious what the words were. And it actually told me kind of how it works. So apparently it has a dictionary of those pre-programmed words, which there are over 2,000 in the Ovilus. So it's a lot of fucking words. But what it does is it converts environmental readings such as EMF, temperature, and vibration into what are called phonetic values. And whenever the specific sensor data hits a certain threshold, it triggers a word from the bank. So like the EMF is 15 and the temperature is 60 and the vibration is, I don't know what vibration settings are, 3. That triggers the word moose. But no, we don't know what the triggers are within the device. So we don't know what certain settings trigger certain words. A lot of people attribute it to kind of a random word generator. But another thing that happens with the spirit box is I have to look at the word because I will say it wrong. It's the whole notion of confirmation bias. Like people will naturally, you know how you see we talked about it with the human faces on the walls.
Yeah.
You know, people will see faces
like
and things.
Hear what you want to hear.
Your brain, yeah, and it's called pareidolia. Pareidolia is suggestion or confirmation bias. So like our brains for the spirit box are trying to make sense of these random sounds, which is probably why we hear different things until someone tells us, oh, this is what it's saying. And you're like, you're right, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anywho, the believer's view on all of this could be, you know, if I think of it that way, the spirits are manipulating energy, whatever frequency electronics, to express themselves by finding these notes in the spirit box or these words. But I mean, on the other side of it, it's just random word generator and confirmation bias. But I did look at the list of words, and I'm going to link them on our website because it's interesting. But they have common words such as yes, no, hello, goodbye. Names including various first names and last names.
They
Numbers.
don't often get names on the Oculus, so that's interesting that they actually have
You guys
some
should
in there.
scroll through the link when I send it to you because it's like, what names did they choose? Numbers from single digits to larger numbers, colors like red, blue, green, emotions, happy, sad, angry, objects, book, door, light, places like home, school, and church, and then, of course, spiritual terms like ghost, spirit, demon. So I was thinking they would be more spooky loaded, but they are more balanced.
No, I figured it was more balanced because the words that they get sometimes are so random. Like, like often they don't actually make sense with the situation. So yeah, like it'll have like the word friendship, and you're like, oh, okay. That's nice.
But like the way I think of it now is some ITC devices capture like EMF or EVPs, some generate like spirit boxes and Ovilus. So, I mean, I think this one was a hoax, like by a long shot. But the photo thing was really weird to me, and I don't know why the radio station words would happen. Like, I still don't have a reason for why you would randomly hear words, or words would pop up differently if you're standing in the same place.
Also, after years of them doing this, it would be like, it cannot be a coincidence that they often will get actual answers to questions they literally asked in that moment through the spirit box that is generating those words. So like,
well, I guess what I'm saying is they're really wanting to hear the answers, so their brain is hearing. It's not always like the answer a direct answer.
No, but I've watched a lot more of this than you have. So like you've only seen a few episodes. It happens a lot where they'll ask a question and they do get what sounds like a intelligent answer to the question. So to me, it would be odd if that was that every time that's happened, it's a coincidence that the correct word was coming through, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I guess we'd also have to be able to gauge how often it didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
what is the ratio?
Yeah, what's the ratio? But like, they're not going to put the times it doesn't work in the show.
No, also that. This is why we need to get equipment and like play with it. But
it was I am glad I understand how they function now, because that was really something I was really struggling to comprehend. Yeah, but I don't know why. In the basement it said nails and hair.
Solid nails.
Hobble.
Well, Lauren, what did you think?
I think it's haunted. I don't think it's a curse. Okay. I think it's like 40% haunted.
By whom?
Spirits. I don't think it's Henry Allen.
Do you think it's nuns? Or man who fell through floor? R.I.P.
I think it's probably just like random spirits, probably.
I agree with what you're saying, Lauren. I think that this place has attracted a lot of negativity because of it being abandoned. And so I don't know that it's Henry Allen that's haunting this place. And I don't even know if it's like a human spirit that's haunting it, but I do think there's evil energy there that has been drummed up from all of the people who have gone there and done bad things. Like it just seems like it was the type of place that a lot of like bad things happened. And I think sometimes places like similar to the stone tape theory that I've mentioned before, I think places hold on to energy.
I think also too, water will also attract energy.
Yeah. But maybe it's haunted by the nuns.
Yeah.
And maybe they just want to be left alone.
I really hope that if I became a nun and I didn't like move on, I'd be so pissed. You know?
Now, do I think that ritual circle was there? No. I think that was staged. I think that was a hoax.
Yeah.
I think that probably was just some neighborhood kids. I don't think it was like a real like satanic
No.
Dang.
With that, my spooky friends, this has been a fun episode. I'm really looking forward to getting into Kindred Spirits and getting back to the old episodes of Ghost Adventures. These newer episodes are a struggle bus for me, but love to spend time with Zach and the crew.
I also heard there's one more again on Reddit right before this. They were like,
What?
they
There's
posted
9?
a screenshot that said, "Oh, looks like the season finale is this week." And I was like, I
saw something too. Yes, I also saw an Instagram account be like, the season finale is May 21st, and I was like,
tomorrow.
Well, what the hell?
Yeah, so we have no idea how many episodes are in this. Gosh. But if that's the case, this has to be the Aaron episode.
We will find out, guys. So, for our shadow people, this coming Wednesday, May 21st. Oh, for you guys, last Wednesday.
Oh yeah, for us
we're
tomorrow.
We're a little behind. For us tomorrow, may be the finale. We're not sure, so stay tuned, and we will all find out together. It's the season finale. But with that, we will see you in the shadows.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening. Bye. We love you.